Yeah.
What year is it?
2023.
Oh my goodness.
It's not 1995.
Where did the years go, my friend?
I don't know. They just went by so fast. It's like, how the heck did that happen?
Good question.
And was it like 2022, like
One day at a time.
5 minutes ago?
Well, 360, 350 some days ago, I guess. I don't know.
It was a while back. But anyways, well, welcome. Thanks for joining us. We're going to kind of maybe recap some of the stuff that we did in the last year and maybe talk a little bit about some of the stuff that we plan on doing next year. So stick around. I'm sure there's lots of fun and frivolity for all. So we're just going to have like a quick little advert here, 30 seconds, and then we're going to come back. We'll see you then.
The Residential Protection Plan by HonorBound IT is the best support and service for home computer users. You get top-notch antivirus, backup, and remote support. Plus, if you need in-store service, it's free. Visit us at 109 Norris Avenue, McCook, or call 877-686-6642. Your digital peace of mind starts here.
But I will turn off my
Welcome
phone
back.
because-
So, we had not a whole lot going on this week, did we, Keith?
Well, speak for yourself.
We
had a
did.
project this week.
We did have a project. We did. You did the bulk of it, though, to be fair.
Well,
The physical part, anyways.
yeah. Well, you did some physical stuff too. We'll follow up on that because
We'll get into
there was a
that.
part of this project that was.
Yeah. But yeah, we were at the lodge and we kind of put wireless infrastructure in there. Old building, really old building. Was there a lot of fun stuff to see in the lodge?
Yeah, it's a unique building and they had a lot of tradition. And so, you were dealing with this guy today where you're like, we need to get rid of some of this stuff. And I mean, 100-year-old pictures and, instruments, costumes, maybe not quite 100 years old, but
Well, no, most of those
much
are
older
from the
than us.
70s. But yeah, maybe older than you.
moving stuff around to get to the spot we needed to get the hole drilled, to run the cable.
Yeah, like when a building's been built like since 1908 and it's had like several purposes and repurposes and stuff collects, it is what it is. But we had to do a lot of moving stuff around to get cables to the place where they needed to be because there were a couple enemies to Wi-Fi there, weren't there? There was like chicken wire in like the old chicken wire style lath and plaster. I don't know what they call that, like metal grid that it's kind of tight knit, but it reflects Wi-Fi. So we had decent signal in the lounge, but when you got into the lodge room, like there was almost like no signal. So we had to pull cable into there and then 2-foot thick walls everywhere. And then we had to figure out how to get through those 2-foot thick walls without dying. We had some scary ideas, right?
Yeah,
Tell us about those scary ideas, Keith.
we went around the 2-foot thick walls.
Yeah, that's right.
We went above them and over them. So that was the trick. And, we've been running a lot of cable this year, so we've been getting pretty good at it. And, one of the things when we come into a building, we kind of look at some things. And, one of the things we noticed in the lodge building, well, Greg's been there several times, but it has a drop-down ceiling. And so, we lift up a ceiling tile, kind of peek around. I was like, oh, this is going to be a perfect place to run this cable all the way across here. And then the next thing we do, we had to run a cable to another room, which was, there's 2-foot thick walls, I think 2 layers of on one side of the room, and then there's a little room, and there's another side of the room with a 2-foot thick wall. And, we're not just going to get a 2-foot, or it had to be over 2-foot drill bit to go through the wall. So we go up through the ceiling, which was, 8 inches, maybe 10 inches. But we had enough of a drill bit to go through the floor above, go down into where the ceiling was in the room where the the lobby was, and we actually used these things, these little fish sticks, and they're like these 2 foot, maybe they're 3 foot. They're fiberglass poles that you use, and you can screw onto the end of them, and you can extend them farther and farther as you need. And so the first run, we just attach those sticks and go through one wall, and then we go through the ceiling in the other room, and then Greg actually fished a stick down through the ceiling to the room below where I was. We were able to attach the cable through it, run it up through the ceiling and up through that would have been the 4th floor, I think, of the building.
Floor. Yep.
And, got it up to the 4th floor, got the cable secured to the wall, ran it through the room into the main room where they needed to have another wireless access point to have a strong Wi-Fi signal, so they can, their phones or whatever other devices need to be connected in there to do the work that they need to do. And so we were able to get that cable ran, get that access point mounted, and get a successful Wi-Fi connection in there from a room that was, maybe 50 yards away.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it was a pretty big, and it's a big room.
Yeah.
It's absolutely giant, but there's like plenty of good signal there. It all worked out really well. And then like we did like the typical stuff that we do, running cable and doing Wi-Fi and making sure all the networking stuff happened. But then, we also have the problem of like an 80-inch TV. And one of my lodge brothers actually mounted the frame up on a pilaster, which is kind of like a little indent kind of deal. No, it's outcropping. Yeah. It's a supporting whatever. I don't know how to explain it, but we had to call in 2 other people to assist us with getting said TV up in the air because it was bloody heavy. And then the way that it was situated is articulating. So, we would get it up there and then the frame would move back. And, but we finally did get it laid on there. That thing had to weigh like 120 pounds, maybe, you think?
At least 100.
At least 100, but we got it on there, got it secured, connected it to the Wi-Fi, so we were able to use it for whatever we needed to use it for. And we don't typically hang TVs, but I mean, and that was all up above our heads too.
Yeah, that was the hardest part.
Yeah, and it had been attempted before us, but
we actually had to bring in 2 ladders. So we had a guy on each side of the TV with the ladder going up, and then we had 2 guys in the center guiding us to the back, and then Greg was able to kind of peek back behind the TV when it was above above their heads, and actually get the TV.
Don't drop it on me.
Actually get the TV clipped onto the TV mount on the wall successfully, and it catched. And
well, then we had to resituate it because the bottom catches hadn't caught.
Yep.
And so
each
go side
about an inch,
and then really quickly screw the retention on the one side. It's lift that side and then do the retention on the other.
So the only problem with that, and I just thought of this now, is I think about this when I'm moving furniture. Say you're moving like a couch, upstairs. If you live in an apartment, you've probably done this before. You got to move your couch upstairs, so you go up one flight, maybe around another, and into the room. Well, great, we got it up there. Oh, good to go. Well, if you have to get it down, you just got to remember that, oh man, I remember I had to get that up there and it was a pain. And getting this TV up there was quite a pain. So, it might not be today or tomorrow or maybe anytime in our future, but, eventually that TV may have to come down someday and it'll be somebody else that'll have to deal with that.
Yeah. Well, and we actually had the opposite in our house, my son, he had a captain's bed. And that bloody thing was so heavy. Oh man, it was heavy. And I told Peggy, I said, the only way that's coming up out of the basement is with a chainsaw.
And I've been in that
It
situation.
it didn't work out that way. We ended up giving it to Aiden for his bedroom. I think he still uses it.
Nice.
But no, I had no part of like lifting it out of the basement. I humbly declined.
No, but that project, the lodge went,
It
pretty
went really
smooth,
well.
with the experience. This kind of goes into some of the things that we've done here in the year 2023 with several of these networking projects.
Yep. We did 8 of them this year.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Pretty decent. Eight new networks, and it's just slicker than all get out. They all work really good, and I can manage them all while we manage them from our phones. Which is something I would have never thought could ever be done. I get my alerts on the phone. It's like if somebody has like a brief outage, I get an alert. There you go. And like a lot of happy customers with, the way those networks worked, that for some of them, they had, a lengthy struggle, with, problems with networking, because their existing network hadn't been done properly. And then we came in and just made all the problems go away. That's what we do best, right, dude?
We did it.
Yep.
Running those cables, and I think back to the ones we did outside with some of these rural businesses, and we call them businesses because that's what they are. But they may think of themselves, we're just farmers, or we're just people just doing some things out of our house.
It's agribusiness.
That's a business,
Yeah.
and
You make your living off of it.
to have internet, out in a building where you want to do your work, just because you're working, 100 yards from your home, you're still, at an office, per se. So when they call us and they say, hey, I need to get internet into my office. And, when we, kind of do this little questionnaire back and forth, well, my house is only right over here. My office is right over here. It's not that far away. I don't really have to drive. Oh, well, you're a business, you need to get internet in your office so you can get work done, whether it's invoicing, ordering, whatever it is that you need to do, you got to get stuff done. And so, these projects that we did for these, one of them was a welding shop, and getting, his problem was, he couldn't get his invoices done. He's in his office and outside.
It was taking him hours
Yeah. Way
to
too
do
long.
one invoice.
Yeah, not acceptable. And so when we got the call, they had struggled and tried to do it themselves, and they came to a breaking point where, this isn't working for us. We need to hire a professional to get this done. We got the call, and I think we were able to, from the time we got the call, we were able to get parts ordered. We were able to get the installation going, and I think it was less than 3 weeks, from everything from start to finish. And
Yeah, and it could have been done quicker, if the product would have been available.
Yep.
But that was kind of like the limitation that we have is product availability. But man, once we get it, it's like, boom, we're there the next day. And we, what was it, maybe one morning and then another morning,
Yep.
just because we had limited time because of other commitments that we had. But, we're pretty quick about these things. We get them done. And then we did like a lot of lunch and learns. We did a couple for Grow Nebraska. And we did for the Chamber of Commerce here in McCook. And we did another one for Colby Chamber of Commerce, time management. Those went over pretty good. I think we ate lots of donuts.
A lot of donuts, yeah.
We fed cops lots of donuts.
Yeah, and those lunch and learns, they're something that, maybe they're not, we're not installing a network for you. We're not setting up a new computer or your Microsoft 365. We're actually giving you valuable information, with the ones for the time management ones. We talked about products that maybe most people are using, whether it's Microsoft To Do and their calendar, and the little known Microsoft Planner that you can use to create a plan for multiple people. But just ways to get your life organized and setting goals and to dos and having a list to work from, so you're not scatterbrained and trying to do things all, from memory, having these things in a list is actually very helpful, and that'll help you be better at time management and knowing, man, this took, I thought this would only take me an hour and it took me 6 hours, and we run into that all the time when, we're trying to estimate or quote out a project, how long is this going to take? And, we've been getting better at it, but we used to kind of short ourselves. Oh, this is only going to take a few hours. Well, things happen and there are hiccups here and there. And so, learning how to estimate and manage your time a little bit better was pretty helpful. And I think we helped a lot of people with that. I know the one that we had in Colby, I think they said that was one of their largest turnouts that they had for their one lunch and learns.
We had over 40 people there. That was pretty impressive.
That room was pretty full. Yeah. And so, we're planning on doing some more of those next year.
And actually Planner and all of those tools that we were working with, they are going to be having some major updates done to them in the new year. And they're actually going to combine all three of them into one and then actually add project as a premium to it. So like if you need to have dependencies that if this has got to be done before I can do that, this has to be done before I can do that. And a little bit more complex projects and Gantt charts and all that neat stuff that, more sophisticated projects require will be available as a premium. But they're going to take a lot of tools and make them into one. So we're going to redevelop that to a certain extent and update our content on that. So pretty excited about that. And then we worked extremely hard all year on the written information security policy product that we're putting out so that companies will have a written and nailed down way that they can protect themselves and that everybody knows what their role is in the company to make sure that they are cyber secure. It's a very difficult thing to actually put into to put in a nutshell. And so we're going to be continuing to develop that into a courseware in 2024. But for now, we have a fairly good framework of content that we can give you to be able to build out those things that if you are an accountant or you do mortgage brokering or any of that stuff that requires personally identifiable private information, you can have the compliance part of that taken care of, where you can dot your I's, cross your T's, and make sure that you're doing all the things that you can do to prevent a breach of private information, because there's nothing that could put you out of business faster than having a leak. Especially if you, like maybe a large company, they can kind of roll with the punches, but a little guy like us, for instance, we have a written information security plan, and we have to have it in order to get cybersecurity insurance, because if we get breached, all of our clients get breached. That is a really big problem, so it's extremely important to make sure that you have those I's dotted, T's crossed. We're working through giving all the tools. We're going to be working with specific verticals like the municipalities and with accountants as soon as tax season is over, because they'll hate us if we try to market to them during first quarter. But everybody needs one. Honestly, I think we were talking today with somebody that said, you are in the IT business regardless, or you're in the technology business, whether you sell shoes or, you sell what we sell, you're in the technology business. So, if that's something that concerns you, and you're concerned about your well-being from a cybersecurity standpoint, then, do reach out to us in the new year. We're going to take some time off, but that's something that we're going to be working forward on.
Absolutely.
Then we did some moving, right, Keith?
Yeah, we had a client move their office. That
new
was
construction.
a new building. Well, the building was there. I think they just remodeled it. Right?
Yeah, they tore everything out.
They gutted it and they customized it to themselves. But that was another one of those network projects that we had worked on, and
Yep.
they got their office and everything. Once the construction part was done, they had the walls built from the contractors. The electrician did the cabling for us. We come in, we test and terminate the cables to make sure that they're going to be reliable. And, these cables are going to be reliable. You said you've done these, and, you want your cable to last for, 20 plus years.
Well, yeah, exactly.
So, getting that office set up and getting reliable Wi-Fi in there, that they had their network room was kind of towards the middle of the building, but they needed Wi-Fi also in the front of the building. So installing a couple wireless access points near the front of the building, they had some extra offices up there. So
yeah, it was kind of a good mix of physical and wireless communication that's in there. They had some IoT devices like the fire and flood sensors in there, which they got to use almost the first day. Because what was it? The water softener?
They didn't have them in that day.
Oh,
that's why we didn't get the notice. Because I noticed it when I think I was helping somebody put a computer on like one of those.
Oh yeah,
arms.
and then like we saw water on the floor. It had already sprung a leak, and they hadn't put that in.
They had not put that in yet.
It was planned, but it wasn't there yet. Yeah.
But those are very helpful to have in those situations. But yeah, getting that office set up, they were working out of a much smaller office, and getting all their network equipment set up into there and moving everything over was perfect.
Yep, they got a lot more room to do things now. So exciting stuff. All right, well, yeah.
We do got some stuff coming up in 2024. You want to kind of give a rundown?
Yeah, we're going to kind of like revamp our live stream stuff. And I think we're going to be a little bit shorter, a little bit more focused, like these live streams for, on Facebook specifically are going to be more geared to, the home user and the really small business user. And then we're going to be doing some LinkedIn content that'll be specific to the written information security policy stuff, because it's more geared to the business owner group. So they'll be a little bit shorter, like 15 minutes kind of deal. And I think we're going to try them around like the lunch hour, so people have a little bit more time to watch it, and more likely on a Tuesday rather than on a Friday, because honestly, we're finding that Friday afternoons people are just checking out. They're already thinking about going home and what they're going to do on the weekend.
Yeah. Well, they see the video on a Friday and they're like, "That's a good idea. I'll have to remember that on Monday."
Yeah, and then it's all gone. So
they don't remember it as soon as it's Saturday.
So we got some of that going on. I don't think we're going to do much more product dev stuff next year. I think we're just going to stick with the things that we do well. We may sharpen our pencil on, either the service delivery, the pricing, or what have you in the new year. But, honestly, just trying to be the best at what we do and be really targeted so that we're not, wasting a lot of your time and that you're getting fun stuff. We've been talking about doing tech gadget reviews, and other, things that might be useful to the specific markets that we have here. We have like we're an ag world, so there are things that, would specifically benefit a farmer that are tech related, not difficult tech, because, most of us don't want difficult tech, to help them do some of the day-to-day stuff that they do for us a little easier. So, yeah, in fact, we got all the way through, what was it, August?
We had
Kind of
several ideas.
We were picking like a whole bunch of ideas of different things that we would think that you'd find useful in your home or on your farm or in your small business or what have you. So yeah, we're looking forward to that a whole lot. We're still going to have a cat picture. We're going to talk about that in the new year though, but we're going to have like a little bit of a revamp. Maybe you might not be seeing my cats quite so much, but we got like a really good idea that I think we're going to help an organization in the community with a problem that they have every week. And the internet was made for cats and dogs, right?
It sure was.
So on that note, we're going to show you a picture of a kitty cat that kind of made his way around our house, ended up on Facebook as a lost cat, and did find his way home via the Humane Society. So beautiful kitty cat, kind of like really interesting ears, sweet eyes. And man, that cat was so lovey, but it came to my house to eat. So wanted in the house, much to the chagrin of our cats. So never made it in the house, or probably would have never left until we would have found out who owned it. But really happy that he made his way to his rightful home, and that his owner is no longer missing him. So remember, spay neuter your animals. Sound like Bob Barker, I know.
There you go.
Microchip them, and if they're an animal that is likely to run around, keep them in your house. Keep them safe. And on that note, what do you think, Keith? Is it like time?
Well, 2023 is
Yeah, it's in the books.
this
Right?
is our last video for 23, right?
I think so. Unless we get really lucky
Well,
next
you never
week.
know.
Never know, but I doubt it. I think probably this is going to be our last one. But if you see us next week, you'll know that we lied. So we're going to celebrate our way out of here and wish you all a happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, what have you, whatever.
Boxing Day.
Boxing Day is the day after Christmas. That's a fine Canadian holiday where we spend all of our whatever money we didn't spend at Christmas on Boxing Day. But thanks for joining us. Appreciate you.